Hi everyone, today we have a Cub Cadet. It's an OHV 173cc lawnmower. It's not running, and the guy that gave it to me said that he doesn't know why. All he knows is that it just doesn't start anymore, doesn't want to deal with it, got a different one from me. So when that happens, I usually give a discount. Something I did do already is I put a little starting fluid down. It does start, but it's really choky sounding, even though the choke wasn't on. So I think we do have a problem with the choke system here, but we'll get that one taken care of later. It wouldn't continue running, so if that happens, we usually have a problem with the carb. So let's look at a couple things. First, let's make sure this is on. I think that's on. Funny story about this machine. I'm pretty sure that's on. I was working, and the person that's installing new internet service for me or around my area was working and saw me working, asked me if I had anything for sale. I said not yet, but maybe here shortly. I just got a new one. I'm just looking for another one to make sure that is on. And he said that he would be willing to buy it. Yeah, that was on. Okay, so we're fine there. Having said that, if you hear a lot of noise, I am getting new internet service. So be on the lookout for that noise. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take out these two 10 millimeters. It's already missing the screw there and right there. So I think someone's been in here before, but let's go ahead and get that started. Now that we know that's on, let's turn it off. In fact, I didn't even check to see if there was fuel in here. That could be our problem right there. You know what? I do not see anything in there. So that could be a problem right there. Let's put a little fuel in there and give it a pull. No fuel can be a couple things. One, they ran it out. Two, there's very little in there before, and over time it just evaporated. It is an open tank, so that is a possibility. 3, could have leaked out. Carb usually being the most suspect location. Or 4, could have leaked out through the carb but into the crank case. And it's just sitting in the oil right now. Wow. Why do people find the need to wrench down on these? And why is the opening so small? The person cannot get their hand in there. As you can tell, there's a little funkery going on, but it's not too bad. No, it's actually good oil and it's full. Doesn't smell like gas. That's the first thing you want to check. If you're draining it and it looks more like water than gas, that's usually a good sign of it having gas in there. Not in general, of course. This cable is definitely having a little problem. Let's give it a little help and see if it runs. It's a little hard to see if the choke closes when you're behind the machine. You know what? We didn't turn the fuel on. Let's just let that burn off. So now that we know it's not starting fluid when we first turn it on, or was that off? I don't even remember anymore. Give it a moment or two. I think this is taken care of pretty decently. It has a new pull cord. It's pink. That's interesting. New oil. We need a zip tie. The cable is slightly bent. Zip tie is going to be a cheap way of figuring out if we need to get a new cable or not. Well, we probably do. Uh-oh. Well, we know why it's empty. It's leaking. Well, we might as well give it a pull, see what happens. That's a bad carb. Okay. Well, let's take a look. Unfortunately, the noise was too unbearable yesterday, so it's a day later. Oh. Looks like we already have a problem. That holds tension on the throttle. So that could be part of the problem right there. There's the choke. Looks like it's fully engaged. It is, okay. Pushing all the way down, releases it. So we know that's at least okay. That spring very well could have been the problem with the sound, that it was just a little low or slow. But my worry is these springs right here, kind of weird. I guess they do look kind of uniform, but maybe the person just did a very uniformly a bad job on putting the springs or messing with the springs. To wonder if this was the reason why it was leaking. It's a split, and as you can tell, these are not necessarily factory zip ties that are going on there. It's supposed to be fuel clips, of course. Someone's been in here, that we know for sure. Yes, This one you have to put the wheels all the way down. Otherwise it just won't clear. Forgot about that. Okay. Let's take this to the carb station. But first, is this gasket supposed to be right here? Or is this gasket supposed to be in the front? Because I don't remember seeing one in the front. Has a vent hole. But then again, that diameter of hole isn't going to match the other side. Is that supposed to be there? You drain the fuel out of it. Now we're going to take a look at this. Because it needs a vent. That vent does not seem like it's going to be doing much unless it's on the carb itself. It is, okay. So we're fine. Let's get it cleaned. What do you think it's going to be? Either spotless or insanely dirty? Well, that is what happens when you put fuel stabilizer in. And that's the noise of a cracked shield of some sort, probably on the exhaust. That's been bent. I even make a good seal. It's been broken here too, but it's not bad. It's not going to cause a problem. I wonder if a Honda bowl will fit. Let's take a look. I have one right here, I think. Oh. It's not the best, but the non-bent area seems to be fine. Let's look at the width or the height. Height seems about the same. I think this will work. I think we're going to put that on there. I'm going to put this in an ultrasonic cleaner. From the looks of it, I did have to sandblast it, so it should be clean, but I at least want to put it in ultrasonic. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in there. So when you put fuel stabilizer in there, I mean, it will stabilize, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's not a long-term fix. It's literally, in my opinion, if you think it's going to be sitting for more than 6 months, fuel stabilizer just isn't going to work. I mean, maybe if you live in a fairly temperate climate, like the transition zone, so like California, North Carolina. Granted, I'm talking Northern California. You could probably get away with using fuel stabilizer routinely, you'll never come across this problem. If you live in anywhere that's cold or cooler, or spring, the beginning of spring and the beginning of fall, or potentially even the middle of fall, you get really, really cold and there's no need for this piece of equipment anymore. Fuel stabilizer is not what you want to do, because you get this problem. Either that jet is broken in there, or it just can't be removed. Hopefully it's not. There's supposed to be a special screwdriver for taking this out, but flathead works just as good. If I remember correctly, I think, let me check. I think these engines, they look like Kohlers, but they're not. I think Cub Cadet actually makes these engines, which means they probably are the same as a Kohler or a Honda, but just a little bit different. Here's a tip. If you're stuck like this, sometimes if you just take your fuel pliers and go underneath, don't squeeze on it too much. Oops. Just kind of rock it. It will usually come out. Here we go. And look at that. We didn't ruin anything. Maybe the plastic is a little marred, but that's about it. I could deal with that. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in there. And potentially, I think the O-ring is completely garbage. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's even petrified. Yeah, that needs to be taken out no matter what. So I'm going to clean that out, put this in a cleaner, and then we'll be back. While the importance of having that fits perfect. In fact, I think it is the same bowl. Anyway, it is important to have a good seal on there for obvious leaking problems. Another not so obvious. What do I know about that one? That O-ring is looking a little nasty. I don't think I have another one, but I do have this. It's off a Honda. How much height difference? That's a decent amount. Will it starve if I put that in there? That juts in there pretty far, and that hole is pretty high up. I don't think so. I just don't want it to leak. I suppose we could grind it down. It's always an option. Do I want to grind it down though? Let's look at this. Can I just put the gasket on it? Well, there's no tears in it. We'll use it, and if it leaks, then we know we have to come up with a different solution. I'm not gonna go super crazy tight on it either. So anyway, back to the idle. If there's any type of obstruction or anything, it can lean the mixture out pretty heavily. So you don't want to do that. Now, I did put a new O-ring on there, but it may or may not be this right size. These do have a tendency of kind of like being squished. Just put a little oil on there. Nothing lubricant can't fix. For the final distance, this may or may not be the most soundest idea. There we go. And there we have it. Nothing a good pair of channel locks can't fix. Perfect. It's not big enough. As you can tell, there's a little D in there. Oh man. They just keep on coming, don't they? Anyway, so moving forward, there it is. I'm going to put it back on, turn on the fuel. We're going to see if it leaks and then put it back on, the covers and everything back on. And I do have a new air filter for it. It came yesterday. Now that's all clean. I'm in the process of replacing the fuel line, but I had to cut off part of the other line, so I don't know what the entire perfect length is. So, let's see here. Now, I know I forgot that mystery gasket. There we go. Mystery gasket. Doesn't even seem like it's supposed to go there, like at all. I mean, it is. I mean, it fits, but it just fits very odd. I don't know. It is a Cub Cadet, so they might have their own ideas on what it needs to happen. It's a little hole that unfortunately my hand's going to have to cover for you. There we go. So we're going to want to cut it roughly about there. You're sitting on top of the clip. I'll just put the clip over right now. There we go. I like to put the clip at the fattest point. Now we're just gonna hope that this goes on easy, which I know it's not. Dang it. Fine, choke, be that way. Be the most difficult one in the room. I guess it does make it so it doesn't fall off, but still. There we go. The clip could stand to be a little smaller. So we have this spring on now. Just gonna maybe bend it a little bit to make sure it doesn't come off. There we are. Let's put these back on. Now, this has a screw-on cover. One end and the other end latches into place. I may or may not have that screw right now. I mean, it just has to have the right thread, of course, but I don't know if I have it. I have to make sure that we're not leaking. It's turned on before we unclip the gas. If it's leaking from the bowl nut, it should be relatively quick. So far it's nothing, it's dry. So that's good. I think we're clean. The bowl seems dry. There's nothing coming out of the throat. I think we're set. What am I doing? Pre-filter. And then the filter. Apparently he didn't have this screw either. There's a piece of tape on it. Let me see if I can find one and I'll be back. Carb's on. Let's give it a pull. The fuel is on. Okay, good. And no leaking, so that's good. At first I thought the fuel line was coming in contact, but it's not. It's very, very close, but it's not touching it. Basically, it is on full throttle right now, and we either have to adjust the governor, which I don't think, or we need to put more tension on this. And when trying to look at the spring, like I said, it kind of feels weird. So there's a bracket back here. I'm just gonna bend it a little bit. Not a lot. It seems a little off. So now that that's bent, let's go ahead and give this another try. Something that is worth noting is that the cover actually says it doesn't run at 3,600 RPMs. It runs at 3,060 RPMs. So it's going to run a little slower than I would usually be expecting to hear. But let's give it a pull with no choke, see what happens. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, I don't really see anything else wrong. I think I might change the plug. It seemed a little cracky or rattly in the beginning, but it smoothed out pretty decently at the end. That very well could have been the fact that the carb just needed to, you know, kind of go through its paces a little bit. So other than that, I think it's pretty good. New air filter, the oil, as we looked at, was good. We're going to do in the plug. I'm going to raise the deck up so it's not, you know, a Southern California lowrider, and call it good. The cable I'm going to try to bend and see if I can't get it to remain straight, but it is working now, so that's good. So we know it's not the choke that's a problem, just potentially the cable is kinked and it's not letting it choke all the way. But other than that, I think we should be set to go. If you like what you see, keep watching. Definitely subscribe and put a thumbs up. Put a comment if you have any questions. I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good night.